it's really important that you start out nice and slow and allow people to get themselves warm, get their joints warm and everything else. So the simplest thing to do is if you get them maybe in a couple of lines, 3 or 4 lines, and making sure that everyone can see you. And then the simplest part is just to start with some rolls on the wrists or on the ankles. And I'm just going to roll the ankle in, and then I change direction. Okay? And then I'm going to swap and go to the opposite leg. And all I'm doing is I'm encouraging synovial fluid to leak into the joint itself, just to lubricate the joint and get it ready for exercise. And once I've done the ankles, I'm going to roll the knees. And you're trying to make nice big circles with the knees. Once I go in one direction, I'm going to change. And how long you do this, just don't let it run too long, but you're talking maybe 15-20 seconds kind of max for each joint. And then I'm going to move to the hips, and again, I'm just trying to get full range of movement through the hips. And once I go one direction, I'm going to change, and then I go side to side. And once I've completed that, then I go to the upper body. And there's only gentle rolls, so just trying to loosen up the spine, get the upper body ready for it. And then I'm into shoulder rotations. And then again, I'm going to change direction. Okay, so that's pretty much sufficient just to get people started. And then what we did was we got them to walk around that circle. So the circle was quite big, so I'd use as much of it as I possibly could. And just gently let them start off, just walking. And then once they're into it for maybe a minute or so, you can start to get them to use their arms. And all that's going to do is going to start to raise the intensity. Once you bring the arms in, you're going to start to push the intensity of the exercise up. And then once you have them going, you're going to change it and push the arms over the head. Again, the fact that I'm now pushing the arms over the head is driving the blood pressure up, driving the heart rate up as well. So again, you're going to do it, have them doing it for maybe 15 seconds on each one, whichever one I do, and then get them back just walking normal. And once they've done maybe 2 minutes of that, then you can start to get them jogging. Again, you're going to give them the option that if they don't want to jog, then they don't have to, because you're going to have people in that group who may not want to run or just not able to run. So always mention that you can walk, you don't have to jog. And maybe pull the walkers on the inside if there are some. So once you get them going on that, then you're going to just repeat your little arm exercises again. So again, it's punching to the front and then get them to push overhead. So now the intensity is going up. At this stage they're all jogging. And then get them to pick up their pace. So remember, your warm-up is going to last maybe 10 minutes or so. So you're gradually increasing the intensity of the workout. And once you get them going a little bit, you can actually start to slow them down and get them to raise their knees. Because now what you don't want them is running quite quickly and then lifting their knees up and down. So the aim would be slow them down and instead emphasize higher knee lifts. And then change it that they're flicking their heels up behind. Same thing again, you've slowed the pace down and you're getting them to just to fire up the hamstrings a little bit more. Allow them back in to jog again and then push the pace on. And then once more going through the arms and then the upper body, and then just push that pace around. And then after about 10 minutes or so, bring them back down, slowly bring them back down to a walk and let them walk around to recover again. Once they've recovered, you're back in. You don't want to let the heart rate drop down. So once you get them in their groups again, or they're going to line up in front of you, you're going to start with some dynamic stretching. So we used dynamic before and we're going to use static after. Okay, so the first exercise we're going to do is a calf stretch. So you need a wide stance, you need to make sure that back foot is straight facing forward, and you're going to come up and down on your back foot. Remember the weight needs to stay on that front leg and the back leg needs to stay straight. So you're going to do about 10 repetitions on each leg. Once I've completed 10, I'll just swap around and do the same on the opposite side. So that covers the calf. So we're going to work from the bottom up. The next exercise is your hamstring. So I'm going to put the left foot forward on the left heel, slide down the right leg, and then all the way back up. So I'm trying to stretch out the hamstring all the way down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to drop the chest towards that knee. Okay, and again I'm going to do about 10 repetitions and then I'll swap the leg and go to the opposite side. So that's your hamstrings. For your groin, you need a wide stance for this, and then you're just going to literally drift over and back each side. When I do it, I'm trying to get a stretch on the groin. And again, I'm going to do about 10 repetitions or so. So that covers the groin. So for the quads, I'm going to pull up, pull in tight and then release. And then I change. So I'm going to hold it for about a second or so and then release. And again about 10 repetitions each side. You need to give someone the option that they can hold on, which is fine. Because some people for balance is going to be an issue. Or even getting their foot up is going to be an issue. So you need to give them that option. Okay, for the upper body, I'm going to reach over the top. And I'm going to do about 10 repetitions. Make sure they support themselves on this side. And then once I've 10 done, I'm going to change it over to the opposite side. For the back, I'm going to drop the chin on the chest, push the arms away. And then I'm going to rotate back, rolling the shoulders back, raising the arms up, because I'm trying to stretch the chest as well. So push in front, and then go behind. And then you're going to do about 10 repetitions of those also. So once they have their stretching done, what you can start to do then is get them back on the trail again. So they're going to go back on that circle. The intensity of the jog this time is a little bit more than they did in their warm-up. So you've completed your warm-up and now you're just getting them ready to move into the next phase. So once the stretching is done, it's all dynamic stretching. I'm going to start to get them to jog around, and once they come back to you, then you can start into the main phase. Okay, so in terms of the main phase, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate each exercise. I'm going to do a few repetitions of each, and then I'm going to go down through the 10 exercises. So remember, each exercise is going to be for 45 seconds. There's going to be two versions. There's going to be a more advanced version and then a beginner version. And then each exercise is 45 seconds. Okay, so the first exercise you're going to do is knee lifts. So the easier version is just to raise your knees, bring the elbows across and rotate your upper body. So that's going to be the easier version. The harder version is you're going to hop. So rotate your upper body and add that hop. Once you add the hop into the exercise, it's going to raise the intensity, but you need to give both options. The second, and remember it's 45 seconds. So the second exercise is squat and then kick. So between each kick, there's going to be a squat. And again, this will be the easier version, and then the harder version is I'm going to hop, squat and hop. So that's going to be the second exercise. So again, there's two options on that. Right, jumping jacks is your next one. So the easier version, all I'm doing is bringing the foot out to the side, raise the arms. The harder version is that. And when you're doing the easier version, if you find people are confused, get them to take the arms out. By adding the arms in, sometimes it'll confuse more people. So just take the arms out, just tap each side, and then the higher I jump, the harder it's going to be. So again, there's two options, 45 seconds. So Stork Taps. So the next one, I tap the foot, I step across, and tap the opposite leg. Now remember, this is your easier option. If I want to make it harder, I hop. And if I want to make it really hard, I just make really big jumps. So when I'm doing that, the higher I jump, the harder it's going to be. The more I step across, the easier it's going to be. And when I'm doing it, I'm trying to keep this back foot off the floor. As I do it, the back foot stays off the floor. But if I really need to help myself, I can let it touch. Once it's on the floor, you're going to reduce the intensity of the exercise. Right, so the next one is leg curl. So again, the easier option, just curl the leg up, bring your arms over your head. The harder option, again, I'm going to add that hop. So once I want to push the intensity up, I'm going to add the hop. And again, 45 seconds for that exercise. Okay, so we're going to do semicircles. So if you just imagine a semicircle in front of yourself, I'm going to touch one side of it, and then I'm going to work my way around to the opposite. When I'm doing this, the important part is to shuffle sideways. Right, some people will start to almost run across, but I need to shuffle sideways, touch the floor, and around. And what changes the intensity of this exercise is the speed. So as I go around, I'm going to do it much quicker. On that, there's no real jumping involved. It's really the speed that's going to dictate the intensity of the exercise. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to squat down, take a step, and squat again. This will be the easier version. I'm going to do it slower, and I'm going to squat each side. If I want to make it harder, again, I just add that hop. Squat each side. The higher I hop, the harder it's going to be. So again, 45 seconds. And this one is strides. So all I'm doing is pushing the foot back while I push the arms out. Again, this is going to be your easier version, and then your harder version. Okay, so shuffle the feet, punch the air. Again, if you want to reduce the intensity a little bit, you're going to take the arms out. Okay, so side step. This is one that most people struggle with. And all it is touch the ground, back in. Touch the ground and back in. The mistake people make with this is when they put their foot out, they put a weight on it. And that's what confuses them. So, the trick is no weight, just tap, bring it back, tap, bring it back. And then you start to add the arms when you're doing it. Now, if I want to make it harder, I start to hop. And again, the higher I hop, the more difficult the exercise is going to be. But again, that's 45 seconds. And then your last one then is cross squat. So, the easiest thing to do for someone is just to squat. And then the harder version, you're going to add that cross and then squat. So cross the feet. And if you notice, I keep changing the front leg all the time. And then I'm going to squat down. Again, the higher I hop, the harder it's going to be. The rest period between each exercise is going to be about 15 seconds. You can add a little bit, have it a little bit longer if you feel the intensity is getting too high for people. And but 15-20 seconds is really what you're looking for as the rest period. But don't be afraid to give someone a little bit longer if they need it. And remember, we talked about the rate of perceived exertion. So it's a scale between 6 and 20. 6 being the intensity of the exercise is way too low. 20, the intensity of the exercise is far too high. So you're looking to get someone between 12 and 16. And that'll help them control the intensity of the workout. So that's the main phase finished. Remember, 45 seconds for each exercise, and there's 10 exercises, 15 to 20 seconds rest between each exercise, and you have 2 versions of all the exercises. Okay, so the second part of the main phase, we use the cones. And you can set up the cones any way you like. I have just 2 cones set here, and they're obviously quite close. But the distance of the cones is entirely up to yourself. You can make them any distance you like. And you can set up as many rows as you like. The thing that you do need to watch for is that when people come around the cone, that they're all going in the same direction. That you don't have one group coming up while the other group is coming down. Just on the off chance that people are not paying attention and they might run into each other. So always make sure they're always going in the same direction. Every group needs to go in the same direction to avoid anything like that. And as I say, the distance of this is entirely up to yourself, and the number of rows that you have is entirely up to yourself. So you start them off by walking around to make sure they all understand what they're going to do, and then always give them the option that they can continue to walk, otherwise they're going to start to jog. The intensity of the jog is entirely up to yourself. You can keep it quite slow, or you can start to push them on through it to push up the intensity of the workout. So you're going to run them. The length of time you run them, again, is entirely up to you. It could be maybe 30 seconds, it could be a minute. I wouldn't leave it too long. 30 seconds, anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute. Okay, then you're going to stop them, and then they can just stand anywhere they like. And the first exercise we did was a ski jump. So all you're going to do is you're going to squat down, and then a little jump to get across. Now again, if I want to make it harder, I'm going to make that jump bigger. But try get them to use their arms and think of a semicircle, and they're going to jump around the circle, and they're jumping on the inside of it. And again, that exercise is 45 seconds. You could have it 30 seconds, you can vary the length of the exercise depending on you and what you're trying to achieve from it. Okay, again, once they complete that, they go back on the runs again. You can get them to change direction to change the stresses on the body, but make sure they're very clear in terms of what direction they're going to go in, and that everyone's going in the same direction. Right, your next one is the sprinter start. So try keep most of the weight in the front leg, and then you're going to lift. Right, so you just tap that foot off the floor. It's important you stress and keep the weight on the front leg. If I want to make it harder, I'm going to hop. And when I do it, I'm going to do halfway and change the leg. But remember, the emphasis is always on keeping the weight on the front leg. You don't want people stepping back, putting weight on that back foot. They can touch it off the floor, but they're just not putting weight on it. Again, it's 45 seconds, and they're back on the run again. Again, the intensity of the run is entirely up to yourself. Okay, the next exercise, just split the feet, touch the floor. And again, if I want to make it harder, I'm just going to do it quicker. If I want to make it easier, I just squat down and touch. Remember, you're changing the hands, and when you're doing this, you're emphasizing that the head is up. You're going to get a lot of people doing this, dropping their head down. What you want is the head up and the hips down. So head up, hips down, all the way up and down. So once you've completed this exercise, you're back on the circle again. And again, you can vary the intensity of the exercise. Okay, the next one you're going to do 3 strides, and then you're going to squat. So if it helps for them to count, that's fine. So it's just basically 3 strides and then squat. The easier version will be just to tap back, do 3, and to squat down. So make sure you're always giving an option that if someone wants to take it a bit easier, or they just don't have that fitness level, that there is an easier option for them. But again, it's 45 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever you decide, and then you're going back on the circle again. And then you can add in as many or as few of those exercises as you like. And then the last one I would do is star jumps. So the easier version, tap, a little jump. The harder one, when you're going to do this, tap, and then a bigger jump. Obviously that's going to make the intensity of the exercise much harder. And so those, you could get them back running again. The big thing is not to let it run on too long. You're judging by the people as to how much they're getting out of it. You don't want them to get bored, and then you're going to change on to the next exercise. So that's the second part of the phase, the second part of the main phase that we did. So I incorporated 2 games into the routine, purely obviously just so people have a little bit of fun, but what it also does is it pulls the intensity out of the workout as well. So adding in the games is a good idea if you're trying to control the intensity of the workout, but also just so people can have a bit of a laugh as well. And the 2 games that I use are very simple. So we just put a cone in the middle. I have someone standing directly in front of me, and you're going to get them to squat into that position. And there's really 4 calls. It's either head, knees, toes, and the last one then is cone. But obviously what you're going to do is let them get used to it first, so they have an idea of what's going on. And then you're going to mix up the calls, so they don't know where their hands are going to be, and then just shout cone whenever you feel like it. And again, maybe do it for a minute or a minute and a half, or a couple of attempts each, but I wouldn't let it run too long. So that was the first game we did. The second game that we did was, again, they're facing each other. The hands are up, and we had 4 calls. So the first one was they had to clap hands, that was 1. Number 2, they had to squat. Number 3, they had to jump. And number 4, they had to turn all the way around. And obviously you go 1 to 4 so they know what they're going to do. And then the aim is to call the numbers randomly, so they're trying to remember what the call means and what they have to do. And again, it's very simple. It's pulling the intensity out and giving them a bit of fun as well. So that was the 2 games we used. It's entirely up to yourself whether you use them or not. Okay, so for the cool down, I actually used one of the games as part of the cool down. It kept them active, it kept them moving, and it allowed their heart rate and their body to return to normal. So you could do that, or you could simply just get in and going on the circle again, nice easy jog, bringing it back down to a walk, doing it for a few minutes. Your cool downs are really important, especially if you have anyone with any medical conditions, because it will allow their body to return to a normal state and reduce any risk of anything happening after the session. So use a game as part of your cool down, or simply just walking around or jogging around very slowly. Just maybe 5 to 10 minutes again, maximum. And then you're going to finish on some static stretching. So they're all the same stretches we used at the start, except this time they're static. Same position, foot facing forward, wide stance. This time you're going to stretch and you're going to hold, and then you can hold for about 10 seconds, and then you're going to change. So obviously 10 on each leg. Your second stretch, put that heel forward, slide down, and you're going to hold. And again, you can hold for about 10 seconds, and then you can swap the legs. For the groin, you're going to drift to one side and you're going to hold. And then you're going to change to the opposite side. Okay. And then for the quads, you're going to simply pull up and hold. And again, you can hold for about 10 seconds or so. And then you'll swap the leg. Going to the upper body. Again, you're looking to be supported on this side. 10 seconds, and then you're going to change. And then finally, pushing the arms out, dropping the chin on the chest, and then rolling the shoulders back. And that completes your workout. So your warm-up, main phase, and into your cool down. So that's it, and best of luck with all the sessions.